detective service units covering two possible routes Bob and Harry might take back over the border. One was covering the Edenappa Road near Fahart. This is the route Bob decided to drive, not knowing every move was now being watched and that armed men in a high-ace van were tailing. Nearby, a teacher was about to become witness to a double murder.
Just as I drove down towards it, suddenly this thing happened in front of me. I thought they were soldiers. I thought it was a roadblock. They only had camouflage faces. They didn't have any masks on them. And they pointed the gun at the car to pull over to the right, which I did do, and they told me to get out. They just said out with the gun and pointed the gun, and I got out to lie on the ground. Then a high-ace van drove into this blocked area we had, and behind them came the red police car.
In a matter of seconds, Harry Breen and Bob Buchanan knew it was an ambush. Bob tried to reverse at speed.
They realised immediately they were in a trap, so they went to reverse. And as they were reversing, the doors of the van opened and 4 or 5, I don't know, some number of people jumped out, all armed. Now, they realised, obviously, that they were cornered, and the passenger man got out. He put his 2 hands over his head, and as he walked forward, but they just shot him. He was shot, you know, didn't burst a gunfire.
So he was
Yes, he's surrendering, but they shot him and he fell on the ground. And they shot the other policeman. I now know they shot him behind the wheel.
I mean, the position of the ambush was sort of, in military terms, sort of perfect. It was in dead ground. It couldn't be seen by any of the watchtowers. There was this like dip in the road. But if you look at the timings of when the 2 officers arrived at the Garda station, which was, I believe, 2 p.m, and then the derelict house was at the ambush site, or close to the ambush site, was overtaken, I think, about 30 minutes later. Very, very hard to believe that the IRA, despite its sort of professionalism and ability to dominate that area, would have been able to get that operation together, move those men so quickly in just half an hour.
Primetime has obtained this British Army report, which was compiled within days of the killings. It names 3 suspects in the shootings. It also contains a forensic report on the weaponry used by the IRA. The gang had 4 rifles. 2 had not been detected before. The other 2 weapons have been used in multiple shootings since 1974. One Armalite assault rifle had most recently been used in an attack on a British Army helicopter in June 1988. The other was used in the murder of Eamon Maguire in September 1987. This document also contained a presumption that Dundalk Garda Station was very vulnerable to surveillance by the IRA. But was there a Garda mole who assisted the IRA? The question was immediately raised publicly, north and south.
Each person they put the suggestion to rejected it. Con King rejected it, the RUC Superintendent's Chief rejected it, I rejected it, as I have done in the past. There isn't any role, that I am certain of.
Are you certain of that?
I'm quite sure of it, yes. That's my job to know that, and I am so sure, and the Commissioner is so sure of that as well.
I can say now that categorically the evidence which we have firmly confirms to us that there was no mole, and we would ask that this be discounted.
I feel it is only right in Harry's name that I should say he had the highest regard and respect for the Garda Síochána.
Over the following decade, the rumours persisted. Then in April 2000, MP Geoffrey Donaldson used parliamentary privilege to name a retired Garda and raise the allegations.
I had been engaged in discussions with the British agent and the individual who had infiltrated the Provisional IRA in South Armagh, County Louth, known variously as Kevin Fulton. He named a member of the Garda who was based in Dundalk Police Station, whom he alleged had been involved in passing information to the IRA about the movements of Harry Breen and Bob Buchanan on that day.
The Garda officer named by Geoffrey Donaldson under parliamentary privilege was retired Detective Sergeant Owen Corrigan, who served as a Garda officer from 1960 until 1991. Mr. Corrigan spent much of his career in Dundalk. In more recent times, he spent 18 days in the witness box at the Smithick Tribunal. Due to health issues, Owen Corrigan's evidence was spread over 22 months. The British agent Kevin Fulton gave evidence to the tribunal that he was a driver for convicted IRA figure Patrick Mooch Blair. He said that in 1991, 2 years after the murders, he was witness to a meeting in a car between Mr. Blair and Owen Corrigan. In his evidence, Patrick Blair said such a meeting never happened. Owen Corrigan also told the tribunal no such meeting occurred. Mr. Corrigan and his legal team described the allegations of collusion against him as a monstrous lie. In evidence, he said he had spent his career tackling the IRA and other Republican paramilitaries. He pointed out it was he who stood forward to hand over INLA leader Dominic McGlinchey at the border when he was extradited to Northern Ireland. He said he had been subjected to vilification by Republicans in the aftermath of this. The tribunal heard testimony from RU